The great insight of Rabbi Menachem Froman is that if in the conflicts in the Middle East, religion is part of the problem, it will have to be part of the solution. We cannot exaggerate the significance to heal the relations between Judaism and Islam. So you're listening to the Interfaith Podcast, and together with me is my dear friend, Sheikh Rassan Manasser.
Shalom, Rabbi Yaakov Hagen, and shalom for all of the audience.
We will discuss the 5 pillars of Islam.
I'll try to explain about them from Muslim perspective, and Rabbi Hagen will try to explain from Jewish perspective.
And together we will see that despite our religions being different, our God is one.
Enjoy.
Wassalamu alaikum, Sheikh Rassan.
Shalom aleichem, Rav Hagen.
So today we'll be discussing the third of the 5 pillars of Islam and a Jewish perspective on that. Third pillar is the pillar of charity, Zakah. And please, Sheikh Rassan, share with us some of the laws and significance of Zakah.
Okay, Zakah or charity or Zakah in Islam, it's very important to do it and to help the society at all. The Muslim society, we remember that during the time of the Prophet Muhammad, he said that you need to give 2.5% of your storage money or buildings or anything else. It's very important to give every year 2.5%. Why? It's not only...
Let me just mention for Jewish listeners,
Yeah.
in Jewish tradition, we hope to give maser, 1/10. But in Jewish tradition, it's 1/10 of the new wealth that was created that year, your salary or whatnot. In Islam, it's 2.5%, but that includes accumulated
Yes.
assets. So I think in the long run, it's even more of a challenge.
Yes. Yeah. It's but it's good that that two religions gives the charity for their societies. What the meaning of charity or zakah or tzedakah? The meaning is to clean all of your storage money and all of your money, all of your houses, all of your cars, everything that you use or you have. It's to clean yourself. And the other hand, it's to help the poor people, the people in need. They need to complete their life. Not in 100%, but you can give your part and the other will give her and his part, and then they can help the people all around the society. And there is a story about one of the greatest leaders, the Sultan and the Caliph, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, the Umayyad Caliph from the beginning of the Islam, 8th century. He, one day, one Ramadan, say, give to the poor people. They say, we gave. He say, go search people in the mountains. They say, we went. He say, wait for the sailors until they will come back. They say, we waited. He say, okay, did you put food for the animals? Yes. Put for the animals on the mountains. They say, well, yes, we did. Give them water. They say, yes. He say, did you give to the Christians and the Jews? They say, yes, we gave in our country. Then he say, take this money to the poor people in Europe, because this is zakah. He cannot keep this zakah for other things. It's for the needed people. And then they sent their money to Europe. I don't know what Europe's saying about Islam today, but it's very important to give to any person all around us.
I think this is a very important message. And again, a message that needs a balance, meaning to say that the charity and opening up the heart go beyond the boundaries of your particular community. Also, I think there's a balance to realize that your primary obligation are the problems that are right under your nose. In Judaism, there's a concept called Aniyei Ircha Kodem. You give priority to those in your own community, but the extent and the hope is to expand it as much as possible. Based on the Talmud, the Rambam writes that because of Darkei Shalom, for ways of peace, that even to idolaters that we have deep theological debates with, we should be giving giving charity. He writes it's because, brings down the verse, Darkei Darkeinom b'chel netivotei shalom, the path of the Torah should be of pleasantness and of peace, and also quoting the biblical verse of Rachamav al kol masav, the mercy of God is on all of his creations. So I think that here too, I think there's important a balance. Priorities to the problems that are closest to you, but saying that priority doesn't mean that's where it ends. To search and hope that an open heart and generosity could go and help heal a world which is so in need, so broken.
There are more kind of charity. For example, the charity that of the agriculture. You are working agriculture, you need to give different percentage of your agriculture work and so on, so on. So now about the others inside the Muslim society, it's very important to say about the Christians and the Jews. They need to pay jizya, Mas Galgolit. Now, many writers try to attack Islam about this, but I think it's kind of tax that they need to pay. It's kind of tax because they are protected. They are not going to the military, and the Islamic, a country can protect them, and also giving them some amounts to leave if they don't have money. And it's happened during the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab. One day he saw a very old Jewish person walking and asking people for help. And Umar al-Khattab look and he say, wait, who is this person? They say, he's a Jew. He say, call him to me. He came. He say, what are you doing? He say, I'm very old. I don't have children. I don't have anyone to help me. And I asked people to help me to get some food for me and for my wife. And directly Omar was angry. And he said, take him to the Ministry of Economic Ministry, and give him a salary now.
You mentioned that there are different ways to explain, understand the concept of jizra, the poll tax for non-Muslims.
Yeah, poll tax.
And reminded of, when thinking about different ways of commentary, one of the last things I heard from our common friend, Rabbi Menachem Fruman. He spoke, of course, in Judaism, Islam, in all religions, there are often many commentaries. And then the question is, well, which commentary, with all these different possibilities, is the one we should live by? So Rabbi Fruman says that we know about God is, in Hebrew, Al-Rachum V'Chanun. God is God of mercy. And he says if there's something open to interpretation, there are two possible ways of interpreting it. The Talmud also says we should go in the path of God. So he says, go in the path of God. If God is merciful and you have two possible commentaries, this should be a factor in choosing the commentary that enhances mercy in the world. And the same way I would say that about the Quran. I know that in the 114 chapters of the Quran, all but one begin with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the name of the merciful God. And here too, I know in Islam there are debates. My hope, just as a rabbi who deals with Jewish sources, and I try to be authentically rooted in authentic commentaries, my hope is for my parallel Muslim imams who are interpreting their sources. As religious people, we want to be connected to our sources, but when there's something open to commentary, remember to go to the way of God. And if I mention the words going in the path of God, something else that I would like to mention is that one of the biggest points of connection to Judaism and Islam is seeing Abraham as our founder, our forefather. And there is, in some ways, there's a somewhat different perspectives, or focus at least, on Abraham between Jewish and Muslim tradition. And even within Jewish tradition, there are different focuses. The Talmud, there are many stories in the Talmud of Abraham as struggling against idolatry. And a lot of these Talmudic stories also appear in the Quran. In the Bible, on the other hand, the Bible does not focus on the struggle against idolatry of Abraham. And the Bible is explicit why Abraham was chosen. The biblical verse says, God says, because I know that you will teach your children after you to go in the path of God to do charity and justice. So knowing that for me, the building cornerstone of Judaism is going in the way of God, of charity and justice. So even though in the Quran, some of these aspects of Abraham, or certainly the reason about his being chosen, are not focused on other aspects, also important aspects of Abraham as being the Hanif, the monotheism, struggling with idolatry, but nevertheless, they too choosing charity as one of the 5 pillars of Islam allows this important aspect of what Jews see as the heritage of Abraham. Please, Sheikh Rasan, can you share more about the laws and relationship to charity within Islam?
Mm-hmm. The relationship of charity in Islam, it's different between people and other people inside Islam. For example, in the beginning of Islam, you need to give the charity for 6 kind of people. We need the poor people, the people they lost everything from their life and so on. And you can give part of this charity for the people they are working in charity. You need some groups of people to come to gain the money, to take from other people and to give to the poor. These people, they are working, the employees of the charity, they need to take part of the charity to themselves as a salaries. For another people, it's called al-mu'allafa qulubuhum. These people, they are new in Islam and they were leaders, and they used to show themselves as higher than the other people. But in Islam, there's no a higher people than less people. They are equality. There is equality in Islam between all the people, because look at them in the prayers. There's no first line is for the rich people, second line. No. Each one will pray and each one will bow. Each one will touch the land, one after another or one next to another. And then Islam, to keep these people inside Islam, they give them al-mu'allafa qulubuhum. What the meaning of al-mu'allafa qulubuhum? That we need to come to say soft their hearts, to purify their hearts, slowly to the Islam. Then they gave them part of this charity. Now, the charity in Islam, it's went also, especially in the Middle Ages, to give to some students to go to study all other kinds of knowledge from the poor families. Why? To create more scholars and scientists inside the Muslim world. Then the Muslims look at the charity as tool to renew and to develop their societies in the knowledge and in scientists and so on and so on.
I think this is an important point. Food for those who have nothing to eat certainly is the harder things, but charity is using our resources to try to make the world a better place in many ways. I think that's another very important point. In Judaism also, there are many discussions in halakha, the 10% that recommended, hoping that people will give to charity. What cannot be included in that? And often families sometimes spending money for their children's education for growth often are allowed for that. And let me mention that in Judaism, part of charity is not only about your money, it's also about your time. One of the greatest Jewish rabbis of the last generation, Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, said that just like you should give 10% of your money to charity, you should donate 10% of your time, because it's not all about money. It's about generosity and helping, giving from what you have to the world. It's, we say time is money. So part of your money is your time, and we all are encouraged and expected to give that invaluable and limited resource, our time, to help those in need.
I want to say something. It's very important what you said, because really, if you don't have money and you would like to give charity, as we say, go to teach people, go to help sick people, go to do. This is, as we say, time is money. This is to give time now. It's very important for all of us to do that dimension. And, charity, the deep meaning of charity is cleaning yourself. It's cleaning yourself, and when you'll clean yourself, I think the other will clean herself and his self, and we can build a very clean and very good society. A very important thing, sometimes in the Muslim, country, they used to get charity from the people. They got the charity of duty, but Islam supported that people to give more charity in silence. And Prophet Muhammad say, if you will like to give charity, don't allow your left hand to know what your right hand gave or did. Why? First of all, to fight your ego. Don't say, I gave. Show me. I'm giving here money and there money. It's to fight your ego, to be quiet. And in another way, it's to protect that people, they get money from you, from the other, to say that they needed and they got the money from this place. And usually the person that he can spread the people give the people for the money, giving the money for the people, the needy people, they choose them a very silent people. They give and they doesn't know to whom they give.
And so appropriate, if the word for charity is connected in Arabic to the word for purification, certainly if giving charity is getting a lot of honor for yourself, you're not succeeding that part of the purpose. And of course, I'll mention also there's a famous chapter in Maimonides, in the Rambam, about the different levels of charity, which the highest levels will be that of the person not knowing who gave it to him and you not even know who received it. So in Hebrew, it's called matan beseter, giving in privately, secretly, because to encourage that purification, that humility. And I mentioned before, charity is not only about money, it's about time. I know that in Islam, there's another aspect you once mentioned to me about the words. So please say a few words about that.
About the charity or zakah, we have sadaqah. It's zakah, the duty. There is the zakat al-fitr, the zakah or the charity of the breakfast. It's most of the charity that we are giving, it's during Ramadan, but there is a specific charity for all the month of your fasting and breaking the fast. It's the holiday will come. You need to give more additional amount, an additional percentage of your money to these people. They need to celebrate after Ramadan. They need to come to the Hajj, to the holiday. Then you need to do a very important charity to protect them. And that money they will give from the duty charity, they will keep for the rest of the year. Then this charity of Ramadan or the breakfast charity will keep them during the holidays. There is a oral tradition of the Prophet Muhammad say that the good word or the good talk is charity. The meaning is your behavior need to be as charity to give to the people, and your talk need to be as a charity good.
This is so true. There's so much loneliness in the world. So many people, what they really need is a good word for somebody else, to see them, to recognize them. The deepest needs of people are often answered by saying the right words to the person who truly needs that. Another aspect of charity, I heard from another friend, a Muslim friend, was saying that including charity is also forgiving. So that's a charitable response to somebody. And I'll mention that I was recently in Indonesia, and Muhammad Isa, the head of the World Muslim League of Islam from Mecca, at the conference he says, we need a world that has tolerance. But to get to tolerance, we have to learn to forgive. If you can't forgive anybody else, you're holding on to your anger. when you're angry, you're not going to really tolerate them. Thank you, Sheikh Rassan.
Thank you, Rabbi Nagel.
You've been listening to the Interfaith Podcast from the Blickley Center for Interfaith Dialogue. You could find us in all the podcast applications. You're more than welcome to recommend us to your friends. And if you have insights or comments, you could find details how to make contact with us in the description of the chapter. And our producer is Elad Sadot. Thank you, Elad.
And thank you, you were with us. U'Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll meet in the next chapter.
Inshallah.